Mm-hmm. This looks okay. I am waiting. Hello. I see that we have two people right now in the live. So we are going to wait a bit more for other people to join. I will adjust some of the volumes here. In the meantime, this will be a very interesting live. So I would like more people to join before. If anyone is here, I would like to see hello in the chat. Hello Ernst, thank you very much for joining the chat. Hopefully people from Patreon will also join this live chat. I have already posted. Can you confirm that you can hear me and also you can hear the music?
You'll never love me again. I can still hear.
Hopefully everything sounds great through the streaming service. Good. Sound is good. I see someone joined and then left, unfortunately. 2 concurrent viewers, hello there. Hello, hello Stuart, thank you for joining. I will wait for more people to tune. If not, we are going to roll this live. Hello Lila, greetings from Texas. Hello, greetings from Romania. Thank you for tuning. What I am thinking about these sessions, I will think if I will make them exclusive for sponsors or keep them public for people around the world, around the internet, to find more info about the work that I'm doing here in the studio. Maybe give some tips in mixing for those who wish to get some tips. Maybe would you like to see the actual work which is put for the mixes you actually hear on the chat. Hello James, thank you for tuning. It's great to see you all. We're waiting for more. People are starting to come, so be sure to share this live show. I would like to make them more often to actually connect with you guys. We will wait for 5 more minutes, and then we are going to start this work session, let's call it like this. Well, we're at it. How are you? How was your day? Here in Romania is starting to get very, very hot. Today we had 37 degrees. Hopefully it's not the same chew with these high temperatures. It's actually cool in Texas this morning. Great to hear. Great to hear this. Well, if no people are tuning right now, it is supposed to be 46 degrees. 46? You're meaning in Celsius. If you're meaning in Celsius, that's crazy. That's crazy to hear. And I thought here was very hot. Fahrenheit. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Oh, Celsius, okay, it's very hot. Hello, Thompson man. Not too cold, not too hot. It's okay. Okay, we have some people. Other people are going to tune later. So this is a very interesting series that I'm going to start. It's about sharing what I actually do here in the studio. So show you some of the work that I do here in the studio. Maybe you'll find it interesting. Hopefully you'll find it interesting. But the main thing is for me to connect with you directly, to see something else than actually live shows, something else. I first thought that I should make some shorts with this work, try to record some stuff, but I thought that it'll be better if I would do these live interactions with you, see your questions, see maybe I'll be able to respond to them. Right, now what I did here was I routed the sound which I hear on my actual speakers for you to hear it on your computer. Now I would like to start working on this session. This is the chain made by Daria Grigoraș, and just first information for you, this song was all the voice, the notes were fixed, let's say it like that. So right now I will just work on the mixing stuff. Hopefully it's not a big delay between my talking and you hearing it. Hopefully I have the live chat here open for me to see what you're actually typing. So enough talking right now, let's start working. I'll explain my process of working here, And let's see. First, you should know that I like to work organized here, meaning that on everything I don't want to have anything uh, which is not in their place, something in plus. I want to only have the stuff that I'm going to work with. This is very important. I found it when I work with larger sessions with 50 plus tracks with effects and everything. I need to see everything. That's why I also use colors. I just created my personal palette. I suggest you to actually work very efficiently when you're starting to mix. If you have different singers covering the same song, do you use the same soundtrack or start fresh for each singer? This is a very interesting question. First of all, hello Thames, I just saw. Hello everyone. So, in general, I would use the same soundtrack that I created, because if I would actually record, you have to think about this. I have 10 releases every week. Every week, minimum of 10 releases. If I would record every time, re-record the songs every time, it would be not so very efficient. So I would reuse the tracks. Sometimes if the singer talks with me and we will see of improving the track, doing something else, but I think it's more efficient to reuse the actual tracks than every time we record. It will feel the week. It will actually feel the week, and I wouldn't be able to do anything else than just record the covers and not be able to develop anything here. Now, let's see. Here we have the track for Daria Grigoraș. Let's see what we have here. Just for heads up, I use a lot of UAD plugins when I work. These are the best. I was very grateful to the UAD guys that they released a cloud version of their plugins. Before they were used, I had to buy the Apollo station, which costs a lot of money just to use the plugins. But right now for some time, they are exported them to cloud, and we can use them directly here in the session, into the DAW. Let's see. Let's work. Do you have a library of lyricless songs? Lila Guban asked. Sometimes I buy pre-made tracks because I would also like to support the creation of the tracks. Sometimes I don't have time, so I actually buy tracks from someone else. Other times I create the tracks which are going to be used in the video. It depends. It depends of the time I have, it depends on the costs, depends on a lot of factors.
Don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you saying you.
Now, when we work here, I usually try to do all the audio work, but I also have Alex, who is working in the other room, which sometimes records in the same time that I do other stuff or actually record myself. And we created, let's say, a default set which we use. It helps him to already have the voice prepared for mixing, and he will work on correcting the notes or actually recording, and it's very helpful for me because I already have a starting point when I mix. So again, we talk about efficiency, we talk about having everything prepared for me to work on. Now we don't have the best conditions in, let's say, recording. So we are using a plugin for actually working on the preamp state of the microphone.
You never break the chain, and if you don't love me now, you will never.
Joe Evans, hello. Thank you for tuning with us.
Never love you, never break
Now you can see that the stuff is overly compressed
the chain.
because not every time the gain, the actual volume that was recorded is adequate. Yes, for the default template.
Never love me again. I can still hear you.
I like to keep the voice very natural, not apply too many stuff. It's important to understand that here in my studio I made a promise, and I keep my promise, that I'm not using autotune. Everything that is done here is raw recording with manual correction on the vocals. No autotune. I do not like even though we have a lot of great autotunes like Antares, or which are great for live sessions or used as effect, but I think that the autotune is causing a lot of damage to the voice. It does not provide quality. It's ambiguous, and we use Melodyne for correcting the voice. Right now the voice is corrected. Most of them we do not correct it to perfection. We want to leave small mistakes because we want to keep it natural, not digitalized. We are not robots. We have to understand that we have to keep it as natural as possible, because if not, you will not hear the actual singer singing.
Saying you
About Lila, is a very he said that he enjoys more the live sessions that actually pre-recording, making the videos, which I totally agree. But when we record here, we want to make sure that the actual recording will sound like an actual live performance.
you never break the chain, and if you don't love
I hope that you're hearing right at an acceptable level what I'm doing here.
me now, you will never love me again. I can't.
Because the audio is mixed from the microphone with the DAW sound, but I hope it will not bother. Here in OBS I wasn't able to create a trigger to close the microphone and start. It would have been very bad, so I kept it simple.
And still hear you saying you.
Now what I do here is to prepare the voice with these two compressors, let's say with the LA and the 1176. I prepare the dynamics, I make it more uniform, I give some warmth to the voice, and now it comes the la pièce de résistance, let's call it like that, using the distressor, which is actually giving the punch to the voice, which I really enjoy.
And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you saying you never break the chain. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you saying you never.
Now, using the raw compressor is not very ideal every time, just because how to say it, it's too much. Maybe I want to compress, but the compression is not ideal. What I will do is to mix it with the raw voice that I had as input.
Hear you saying you never break the chain. And if you don't love me now,
This way I might keep the punch, and also doing the work, the compression will do the work perfectly here.
you will never.
You might see the compression is very drastic. Yes, It might be, but keep in mind that the mixing right now is almost to 0.5%. So from what I remember, this technique is called the New York compression. You might hear is parallel compression, meaning that you're using the raw information and the compressed information and mix them together. But I found it very neat.
Never love me again. I can still hear you saying you'd never break the
Here Alex messed up with the EQ a bit. Had some fun with it.
chain.
How did you enjoy the last covers that we released? How did you find the video quality? Someone said I used to have that same chair. Great to hear that. How do you enjoy the covers, the latest covers? Do you have what might be called your signature sound, or do you prefer to create a unique sound for each singer? This is a very interesting question, because indeed every sound engineer has their own perspective of sound. Me personally, I like my mixes to be punchy, if possible, if we're talking about bands, to be punchy, modern, but also keep it like real, let's say. Or if not, when you hear that song, actually understand the music through the mix. When I hear a song, I do not hear the lyrics. I try to understand the mix. I try to understand the instruments. I try to understand the reason. And unfortunately, with these covers, you cannot create a unique sound. But as you saw with my original songs and the original songs that I created throughout the years, you can actually hear my signature sound, how I mix it and how I mix everything.
You will never love me again. I can't.
Now, when I try to do the EQ, this is the most important part, I think, especially for a voice. When I try to do the EQ, I try to keep it as natural as it is, because you cannot change the actual voice, but give it, because we don't have the best quality microphones or the best quality conditions here, I try to bring the voice to where it should be, where it should sound in the mix. You have to keep in mind that every track has its sound, so I have to make sure that when I actually mix, I introduce the voice in the mix. Well, I cannot mix as the songs were recorded before, right? Because they had their own mixing equipment, so I cannot. But I was trying to keep it as close to the original, but also give it a modern and my touch.
And still hear you saying you'd never break the chain. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you saying you'd never break the chain.
Also, another interesting what is interesting to understand, maybe you didn't thought about this. Every voice has its resonance, meaning that our voices, let's say that they are unique. And to capture the actual voice, how the voice really sounds, it's almost impossible. That's why high-end microphones right now help us record the voices as they are without affecting their tone, without affecting anything, giving as raw as possible and also the quality of the sound will be higher, meaning that it will help us in the recording. But when we are talking about low to mid price microphones, there will be some imperfection. There will be microphones which enhance the highs, enhance the lows, enhance the mids. And sometimes, and I had a lot of troubles with this, some microphones, some voices will sound great on on our microphones, but other voices need more work during the EQ step because the microphone was not suited for their voice. This is another interesting thing to understand because, again, the voices are unique, and only by using very high quality microphones you will actually get the voice in a high quality recording. Using the low to mid microphones price tags, then you have to do some more work to make the voice sound as real as possible. Sometimes you may, this is about audio engineers, you might see 2 or 3 or 4 EQs applied. Use as much as needed if we talk about frequencies, if we talk about EQ. Now I saw there are a lot of memes about audio engineers who use a lot of plugins, meaning that, or maybe they use, when you're doing the EQ, they are using a lot of points, it's messed up, you do not understand. That's why I like the stock plugin from Cubase, the frequency which give me 8 bands which I can work how would I like, but I keep 8 bands. It's important to understand that when I first started recording, well, after 2 or 3 years, I started to buy plugins which were more resource consuming on my PC. And I started to insert a lot of plugins on every channel, and the audio session started to lag, like it will not work. It started to, I wasn't able anymore to mix. So I started to understand that you have to use as less plugins as possible. You have to use not too many plugins, but use them carefully. You have to use only the essential ones. Don't need to use compression and everything. Don't need to use, I don't know, to use too many plugins. Only if it is necessary. You have to use the plugins as they should be placed, as the necessity requires. That's the expression that I was looking. You don't need to place too many because you'll also make it too artificial. Again, use the necessary strict plugins.
Never break the chain, and if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you saying you will never break the chain.
Now you might hear some resonances. Every voice has their resonances, and I'm looking for them to cut them.
Break the chain, and if you don't love me now, you will never love me.
I also, when I mix, I enjoy to hear the harshness of the voice, hearing very bright.
Break the chain, and if you don't love me now.
This moves the voice in front. You can hear the breathing, you can hear the actual expression of the voice and the feelings the artist had when they were singing the actual song. You can hear the breathing. I was talking with someone and they told me that before in the past, they had to hold their breath when they were recording just because it wasn't custom to hear the actual breathing. I'm talking about here in Romania. But I'm like, you have to hear the breathing. You have to hear the expressivity of the voice, how they express during singing. That's what I think.
You will never love me again. I can still hear you saying you will never break the chain. You will go down.
now we also have to make sure that we don't have too much here, because we might start to hear background noise.
Break the silence, damn the dark, damn the light. You don't love me now. Oh, down comes the night.
Unfortunately, sometimes because again of the microphones, or maybe also because of my compression, and because the voice is not constantly in front or in the back or whatever it is, I have to adjust the volume because to make it equal.
Blow, watch the sunrise. Listen to the wind blow, watch the sunrise. Girls and your love and your life.
Andrei, are you familiar with the Zoom H2 microphone recorder? I'm actually not. Let's see. What is this microphone? This is a hand recorder. Okay. Oh, this is for, yes, pocket microphone for recording, not in the studio. This is closed like Tascam products, yes.
And if you don't love me, you'll never love me again. I can't. And if you don't love me now, you in your lives would never be here. Chain, keep us together, running in the shadows. Chain, keep us together, running in the shadows.
Great. This is another interesting fact about mixing and having tracks like this. How would I have done this track? Because we are having the backing vocals here. I would have recorded in a separate channel, on a separate group, the backing vocal with the main voice here on the center, and having our responses here. Unfortunately, it's not the case. So we have to adjust.
Run in the shadow, keep us together.
Because we have the compression who is working here and then here in the middle, here and here. This is not good. This is not very good. So what we are going to do is unfortunately move. Oh, but we also have here a problem with volumes. Let's see.
Keep us together, running in the shadows.
Okay, still the same problem. Okay, what we are going to do is actually put the dynamics, because this is a problem with dynamics. I'm going to place it here on the two separate channels, so that I will not have this problem of overlapping tracks and actually keep them separate like it should be. Again, what I would have done is to have the main voice here in the group of backing vocals and keep the responses here in the main track. This is called efficiency. This is called that I know that this track is going to do the responses, and here we have the backing vocal. Less plugins to worry about, much better structured. Now I have to, oh, okay, it's okay.
Keep us together, running in the shadows.
Good. Now it's perfect. Well, it's not perfect, it's better, but we have to start working on the actual breathing. Because we don't wish to hear the breathing here during the response, because this should be in the backing vocal section. Now this, I wouldn't have done that. This, with this long note, because during the video it'll be a bit hard to combine them for the actual artist. It will be a bit hard, it will be a bit strange, and I wouldn't have done that, but no problem. No problem. Now we have a problem with this section, because this is lowest volume, and now this is high volume. But we cannot use this EQ output adjustment because it will also affect here. So we will work on the automation of the compressor here to give us proper output. Now this is a problem with timing here. How do you like the live show so far? Do you find it interesting? Would you like to see more of this kind? I would really like your feedback because it will help me decide what I will do later with these live shows. Now we're working on the effects. I use the repeater, the vintage model delay. This is modeled with the vintage repeater with tap, which I found it more natural to use it than a standard delay plugin. This is also going to moderize. It gives me more control. It also gives me EQ filtering on the voice, and this is much better. Well, again, it depends, because I cannot create too large gap in delays, meaning that I have here the sound and I can stretch it to infinity. No, this is a bit limited. This is analog delay. With a stereo delay like the stock delay, stereo delay, actually I have more control. I have much more control on the time. I can stretch it up to 5 seconds. This is limited to 1 second only. I see that you enjoy it right now. Do you sometimes have the singer with you when you are doing this work? Not actually. They find this work really boring. And well, talking about audio mixing and also video editing. Personally, I do not enjoy video editing. I actually hate filming because I really love physics, and yeah, let's say when I was in grade school, I enjoyed more electricity, more talking about electricity and the sine waves and everything that was going there with resistor capacitance and everything in the circuits than actually learning about optics. And this is the same thing here in audio engineering. You're working with waves. You're working actually with electricity, which in how to say, when you're combining electricity with capacitance, with resistor, with transistors and everything, with modulation, with everything, this makes a lot of sense. Like the compressor is very, the original origins of compressing is very interesting. I might tell you the story if you'd like. The radio stations had a very big problem when they were starting to send the sound outside the stations, because they would start to damage their equipment because there was no resistance, not a way to actually stop the sound from overclipping. And they thought of a simple solution: input and output. Input means the sound which is getting in, and the output is the sound getting out. And because of the physical properties of the resistor, because it was actually limiting, here came the compressor. It's actual applied physics, and it's very, when you understand physics, electricity, it actually makes sense. Everything you're doing here makes sense. Well, now we're talking, when we're starting to work in audio engineering, you're also talking about how to make the sound more stereo, how to make it ambient 360 degrees, but this is more complex. The basics is we are only working with amplitude and yes, with amplitude and with frequencies, meaning the pitch. Let's call it like this, the pitch. Thank you, James, for tuning. Have a great day, Gus. I am grateful that you find it interesting. I do not expect to actually understand it deeply, but I would like to share with you all the information that I know with you, because again, I would like you to grasp some of the work that is done here in the studio, and also give you some more information, because I find when you know a lot, it's great for you when you start to understand the things that are around you. Okay, let's work with the effects, the stereo, the delay, and the reverb. I think this guy you saw a lot of time with when you saw films about studio recordings. This is the Lexicon 224, which is the digital reverb, which which made a revolution in digital reverb. This is the best reverb, I think, analog reverb that I know right now, the plugin from UAD. Now let's work on the actual effects, which is going to give some stereo effects.
Again, I can still hear you saying you never break the chain. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you saying you never break the chain.
Now you have a lot of settings here. You have small hall room, cons plate, voc plates. I usually go with the room.
I can still hear.
When I'm talking about modern mixes or when I'm talking about old mixes like Fleetwood Mac, I would go with a room. This is when you're in a room, you're actually right there. This is a vintage style of reverb, which which was used a lot before, not too much reverb. Is again, it's what if you want to give space to the voice, you want to make it more majestic, you would give much more space, reverb.
You would never break the chain, and if you don't love me now, you will never love me again.
And now we have the delay, which gives a lot of space and it sounds wonderful.
You say you
Stuart. Andrei, how many hours a day do you spend doing this? Well, I do not spend a full day mixing. I was able to learn to mix, to do a mix, a simple mix in 1 hour, mix, master and everything. And now it depends. If I need to spend more time, I might stay 2 or 3 hours. If I have a band, I would stay 9 hours and more. It depends. But I do not only do mixing. I also do the programming stuff here with the server. I also do management stuff with everything on socials, whatever it has to be done. So this is only a small part of what I actually do here. When do you know a song is finished? A song is never finished. You have to impose yourself that that song is done, because you will always find something that is not to your liking. But if you will stay and spend hours on that particular stuff, you might realize that you cannot fix it, and you should leave it as it is, because overall no one will hear that thing you are hearing. I learned that on my own. Hello Peter, great to see you here.
would never break.
Now I'm going to do the final things here. Hopefully not.
Break the chain,
I'm going to raise a bit the volume here.
and if you don't love me,
Now, I don't know if you know, but when I do the final mix, I mix it in mono, meaning that I would mix it like on a phone, because you would actually hear when you listen to a video. I think 90% of you will listen to on a phone, and I have to make sure that if on a phone, this is a thing that I learned from someone on YouTube, which helped me a lot, because when you're hearing mono, no, we are bad at hearing in stereo, meaning using our 2 ears. It's not very great when you hear, but when you're hearing mono, meaning that you're only hearing on one channel and one channel only, you can actually hear how the volumes are stacked, and you can work on prioritizing whatever it needs to be prioritized, and then you do the rest. When you're moving to stereo, it will sound perfect.
break the chain, and if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. Listen to the wind blow, down comes the night. Blow, down comes the night.
Now the backing vocal is very important here, so I should raise it a bit more.
Run in the shadows, damn your love, damn your love. Run in the shadows, damn your love. Run in the shadows, damn your love, damn your lies. Break
I suggest upgrading your keyboard from parallel rows of keys to an ergonomic one. I tried. I hated it. I because I work on PC and actually learned how to type very fast without looking. It was very hard for me to adapt to the ergonomic. Yes, it's a bit more comfortable, but it was a pain to memorize again the layout and switch back to laptop again to that ergonomic keyboard. It takes about a week to adapt. Yeah. Okay, let's lower a bit the voice on the verse. Just a bit.
Listen to the wind blow down. Listen, and if you don't love me now, you will never love me. To the wind blow, watch the sunrise. To the wind blow. Listen to the wind blow, watch the sun. Listen to the wind blow, running in the shadows.
Okay, let's hear it out on the master. Meaning that I have to prepare it for maximization and see how it actually sounds, because I don't know if you know, but mastering is something else than mixing. Well, I'm not a professional at mastering at all. I do only the minimum stuff that should be done in mastering, but I master the programs for mastering are much more closer to what you actually hear when you're listening to the video than in mixing, because in mixing the algorithm, the playback algorithm is different. It focuses on other aspects. And I found this hybrid mixing a bit more efficient, because sometimes I might not hear something that it should be. Are you tempted to remaster your old songs? I actually did. For Iron Cross at least, and some old, very old songs of Bad Trees, I actually did. Because the quality was very low, like very, very low. So the versions that you hear on Spotify, most of them actually, are remastered, rethinked, everything. Sorry for that. You have to seat height. You have your seat height at the right ergonomic height. Interesting to know. Oh,
watch the sun. I don't damn your love, damn your lies. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you say, right. Listen to the wind blow. You will never love
So the verses are very low. This is not okay. Because these are covers, I have to make sure that
Listen to the wind blow.
the voice is a bit over what I would do in a mix.
Listen to the wind blow. Love me again.
Because when you're doing a cover, you have to actually hear the instrument, the artist that is actually performing. When you're making an original song, is a bit different. You have more control. Not I also have control, but when you're making a cover, you actually want to hear the artist playing that song. When you're making an original, you have to make it the mix properly, as it should be, with all the levels done perfectly.
Listen to the wind blow. Watch the sun. You don't love me now. You will never. Listen to the wind blow. Listen to the wind blow. Down comes.
Okay. Let's try again. Once the tracks are sounding good, do you start mixing it with the video footage? This is not my part. This part is done by the video editor, by Razvan. I only deliver the master track, and he is going to read from our internal program the sponsor list, put the master in the session, and then he will upload the video to the right YouTube channel. So this is not my part. Sometimes I do when he's not able to export. I do the export myself, but usually he does the export. Right now we are working on making in advance mixes. We're almost to 1 week in advance, but we hope that we are going to do much more. But again, it doesn't fully depend on us. It also depends on the singers, when they're available to come, how many songs they're available. It's for them is also a complicated process of learning the song, come to record. But that is a story for another time. Da-da-dum. Yes, the export time. I had a song which took 6 minutes, actual 6 minutes to export. This was a song with 60 or something tracks, with a lot of effects, a lot.
Listen to the wind blow. Watch the sunrise.
Now, yes, this is bypass. What I do here is using a tape, which is going to give a vintage sound. And then I'm using a bass, who is going to apply a very small compression. Now this sounds great. I think from my point of view, this sounds great. This is going to be uploaded to the reward. I will show it. Now, let's answer some more. One of the no. The voice with the video, is that automated? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes Premiere does a very good job in syncing the video tracks with the actual master, but sometimes we have to do it manually. How do you and the singer choose the song? Just choose a song. Try to see how well the song responded with the audience, and we're going to make a cover of it. Okay. Master, let's render it. export. Let's choose the server, destination, the chain, mix down. Don't forget to put it on 0. I will not play back the actual volume because I will break your ears. And I always export an MP3 and a WAV file. The WAV file is going to have much more quality and it is going to be used in the video export, but the MP3 is also very high quality, is actually coming from me directly, not YouTube compressed or nothing, and the MP3 is going to be delivered to all the sponsors on YouTube or Patreon. I'm going to make an update about the stuff that is going to change, but this will be only for the sponsors alone to see. And now the WAV is going to be exported. And that should be it. That's done with the song. We're done with the song. We mixed together a song. Well, we didn't start from with actual making the corrections necessary for the voice. We didn't do that, but this will be done later. Now, didn't you enjoy this live show? Would you like to make more? Yes or not? Now I saw that. Why it was not public? Okay. Next time we are going to mix a song from start to finish, and I will think about actually scheduling all of them from now. Maybe more people are going to join us. For now, this live show will end here. Thank you for tuning with us, with me, actually not with us, with me. And see you next live show. Let's chat doing my work. Have a good one and see you later. Bye bye.